I'm working here in Croatia, Zagreb, as an Ayurvedic therapist. In 2007, I had severe problems with migraines, and after I explored all the Western medicine techniques, I couldn't find a solution that's appropriate because I don't know, I was out of my job for 3 days a week, and it became really exhausting and serious. And then I contacted an Ayurvedic physician here in Zagreb, and he connected me with Balendu Prakash. He is an Ayurvedic doctor from India that was doing a longitudinal research on 5 continents. He was proposed for a Nobel Prize for coming up with cause and treatments for migraine. So I entered the program, and in a month and after I explored all the Western medicine techniques, I became a patient, but I became also an assistant. I couldn't find a solution. So I saw the clinic in Dehradun, and I saw the way he worked with people, and I understood Ayurveda much better because I was on the spot. And the treatment lasts for 6 months, and I never had a migraine attack after that. Wonderful. And then in 2014, I decided I'm not gonna work for a multinational company anymore because it doesn't suit me. And they gave me everything they could, and I'm very grateful for that. But I was interested in studying Ayurveda. So, except for Jyotish, that I'm working 15 years, Ayurveda is in the same Veda. It's in Rig Veda. So they are practically sisters, and they are well connected. So I found an Institute for Vedic Studies in Switzerland that had a beautiful online study that lasted for almost 3 years, and I enrolled. And I'm working as a therapist since 2016. I believe astrology is astrology. No, I know. Astrology is always astrology, you know. That's you have a map of the heavens. In the time when you took your first breath, this was a chosen time for you. Because I think our soul knows that we have to go through some things, and we have to incarnate in the exact moment. So I believe the Greeks or Chinese or Westerners or Indians have their way of calculating the card, you know, the chart and the positions, and they all have a specific set of rules how to interpret the chart. But the planetary constellations are always the same. So, okay, I'm doing Jyotish, but I met a lot of Western astrologers that thought I was a Pisces, not an Aquarius ascendant, but it all comes down to the same thing. I have to do what I do, I have to have children, don't have children, I have to be in a relationship, not be in a relationship. It's all the same. It's a matter of interpretation. So I think that's a wonderful sign. Astrology is actually statistics, applied mathematics, and astronomy. That's it. I hope I'm gonna be psychic one day, but I'm not. I don't know. That's what I say to all of my clients. I don't know your favorite color. I don't know what type of food did you eat last night. But I can do what I can do in matter of these 3 sciences. Okay, well, I really like doing synastries. So when I do synastry is a science. It's a special way of looking at 2 charts. Well, you have a man and a woman, and when you mix them together, you have a special composite chart is one thing when they meet in the middle, but synastry is when you overlap them, and you can see what triggers whom in a specific chart, in a specific field. So I've done one couple. This was my former colleague from my business environment, and she fell in love with a guy from IT. And she was dating and living with a guy from the office next door. And that lasted, I don't know, for 10 years, you know. And they fell in love instantly, and they came, and the guy had a little child from his first marriage, which was ending. And when I saw the two charts, I said, look, I don't know how, but you're going to be a mother to that child, because I introduced also his chart. So I had 3, and it was not in her chart or his chart, but in the child's chart. You could see her motherly position and his fatherly position. That child chose to be born in a womb from another woman, but he came to her. And the guy recognized that, and she had that, and okay, they have a child now. But this was a story that everybody, we had 250 people gossiping about them, and it was really uncomfortable. But I said, look, this is possible. This is really because the child is going to connect you, and you will have another one. She gave birth a year ago, and I did that reading in 2013. It was wonderful. The little kid's chart showed exactly what they needed to hear, because they thought, okay, we have to hide around. No. It's all gonna fall into its place. So it's a wonderful story. I have thousands of them. A lot of weird stories, a lot of difficult stories, a lot of wonderful stories. You know, love stories are wonderful. And you know, when you explain the karmic position, and with a good client, I know her for years. She has a mother who has Alzheimer's, and she is taking care of her. She's 52 now, and she's devastated. She doesn't have a husband or a child. And I explained why she chose that mother, why they have to be together. She feels relieved. You know, and when you can give that to people, because this is a little science, okay, I have my little interpretation, and it really helps. That's the best gift I could have. Yeah. So Ayurveda is cool because we go to the core. We fix the whole organism, you know, because if you're treating migraine, you don't have to do a CT scan of the brain, because it's not in the brain. That's the consequence. Your liver is inflamed. You have a lot of fire and a lot of water and stickiness in your liver, and a lot of toxins in a small intestine, and that is the core problem. And when you fix that, migraine disappears. It's actually that simple if you know the rules. So to actually enroll into Ayurvedic studies, we all had to bring or translate our documents, because I have a medicine background. I'm a nurse, so I went through pathology, physiology, and anatomy. So you have to have that kind of knowledge, so you can enroll in Ayurvedic studies, at least in Switzerland. Yeah, so you can work with anatomy from Ayurvedic point of view. They don't have to explain the core business. It's the speed, and I think the lack of peace inside the people, in all of us. You know, everything is in numbers. How much time do we have? How much do you earn? How much the electrician costs? You know, I have to buy a new car. Everything is in numbers, and all the blood tests are in numbers. But can you validate your peace of mind during the day? Can you have that mental hygiene? Because we all have a shower. I at least hope so every day. But nobody is taking care of the mental hygiene. And actually, the first thing, prajna parad, that's actually the mistake of intellect. This is the first sign, the first cause of illness in Ayurveda, that that they teach you. This is the mistake. You don't pay attention. You know that's wrong, but you do it anyway because you're in too much speed, you don't have the time, you don't want to deal with it now, you don't take the time. And the lack of respect, of self-respect to our own bodies and to our own mind. You don't have to make a lecture, to do a lecture, if you don't feel good enough. Not physically, like I have a fever or I have a headache. Like I cannot do it. I'm emotionally incapable of doing it. And okay, if you have to do something, you have to do, like you have to nurse your child, okay, but deal with it later. And people just forget. They move on. They ignore. And it's ramping up, it's under the carpet and it's gonna pop. And then it blows up. And I think the mistake of intellect, this is the first cause of disease, of anything. And the second thing is we don't have any routines, you have an order in your life. You get up at pretty much the same time, you eat regularly, you drink regularly, you talk regularly, you love regularly, you have sex, you give birth. You have to respect the time of your life, the time of the day, the time for your body, for your metabolism, and just listen. People don't listen. It's a mistake of intellect. In Ayurveda, there is a concept called Agni. Agni is fire. So this is the first line of defense when we are talking about our immune system. So it's not the little white cells that sternum produces, or your thigh bone, but it's actually the amount of fire you have in yourself to be clear what is wrong and what is good for you. And then if it's wrong, you will either throw up, or you will sneeze, or you will say, okay, this is not working out for me. I'm sorry. I don't feel comfortable doing this conversation with you right now. Can we stop for half an hour? This is the same thing. It's called Agni. Agni is fire, and fire is clairvoyance, pure light. If you have enough fire, because we are on Earth, okay, I would like to communicate with you on an intuitive level, but this is not the deal. That's why we have Skype and so. And our bodies are functioning on the same principle. If it can burn enough, then it can burn all the bad stuff. If it burns too much, that will burn your own body. So to cultivate the fire, I believe we have to take care of the moment when we feel hungry, when we feel we have to withdraw, when we feel the urge to, pee, have sex, talk, eat, sleep, anything, work, be productive, run, exercise, and create some kind of balance during the day, during the seasons, during the week, so we can cultivate the fire inside of us. Because if the fire burns, then you will have that clear voice inside your head. Oh God, I know I like spaghetti, but this doesn't smell good. I don't know why. It's the same recipe, it's the same dish, but I'm not sure I should eat this right now. And when it's a cloudy day and you feel tired and you eat a lot of carbs and your immune system goes down, if you are the type that happens to you, then you will create a lot of ama, and that ama is actually that unresolved, unprocessed food that's sticking to your intestines. Intestines are actually like a sponge. They just sit there and they are a sponge. So if they are coated, they cannot absorb all the vitamins, all the proteins, all the minerals they have, so your immune system can work. But they just stand there and, oh God, I'm just bloated, I don't know what to do. you know. When you do that, you cannot create or sustain a healthy immune system. And then you inhale the coronavirus or an influenza virus or any kind of virus, and then you get a cold and you get a fever and so on. So the same thing is with your thoughts. If you have enough fire, you can transform the food, so it can bring something healthy in you, and it can go out in another form. Because if the food comes in and out of you in the same form, the fire is not working well enough. Same thing with thoughts. If you absorb my, I don't know, criticism, your boss has a criticism, and you listen to it, and if it goes out of your mind like, oh God, I'm not doing anything right, I'm bad, I don't feel good about that, that's wrong, because you don't have enough mental fire, because the stomach doesn't have enough fire. The fire is connected through all the nadis, and I don't go into the anatomy of all the, it's gonna be boring. But the same thing, you have to absorb the emotion, absorb the information, and then you have to fire it up. You have to transform it like food. And when it comes out, okay, this is something I never thought about myself. And it's a great way to work on that. Thank you very much. This is Agni. If you don't have enough Agni, if you eat ice creams and junk food, if you're not healthy enough, the head is not working, the body is not working. I believe every person that comes for a consult, for Ayurvedic examination, physical and mental, they have enough light in them to give that minimum support that they have to give their bodies. I can do the rest. But you know, if you have that little light, you can blow, you can make a fire, you can do something with it. Okay. Yeah. The worst thing is when somebody drags you into my office. I say, don't do that. It's not gonna work. Mm-hmm. There's not enough fire. There's not enough light. Thing I always say to everybody: be kind to yourself. If you have a little interest, if you have a little question, okay, that is worth exploring. It has to come from that inner love for yourself. It doesn't matter if it's me, if it's some other Ayurvedic therapist, if it's Chinese medicine, if it's, I don't know, you want to jump up and down in your bed and that helps with the nausea. Okay, I'm for. It's all good. But just be kind to yourself and listen to yourself. It's like 5 minutes in the morning, like, okay, dear me, I really love you. This is a big day. We're gonna jump. Okay, you jump, I jump. It's gonna be fine. And once a day, do something that really either scares you or interests you. It's a book, it's a saying, it's 5 minutes reading quotes on Google, anything. Because that one little fire and one little act of love is gonna multiply. Okay.